It's the last Saturday of the month of April in the year 2025. Good afternoon. Welcome to Weekend Central. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news app here at Adib Sunonni on Facebook. We're live on TV3 Ghana on DSTV's channel 279. My name is George Queening.
And I am Judith Brown. Coming up in the bulletin this afternoon.
NACOC insists they are working hard to arrest drug barons in Ghana, adding the fight against illicit drug trade will be won.
Also this afternoon, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu implores management of the University for Development Studies, UDS, to focus on its mandate of tackling societal problems, particularly in rural areas.
And President Royalty and a multitude of simple mourners attend burial service for late Pope Francis as he is laid to rest in Rome, Italy.
Welcome to a bulletin. We start from here. Pope Francis has been laid to rest after a burial ceremony at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. Now, the funeral ceremony saw world leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron, Vladimir Zelensky, and Prince William in attendance with his funeral. Now, an estimated 250,000 mourners with 50,000 inside St. Peter's Square itself also attended the ceremony. Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, who led the service, said Pope Francis touched minds and hearts and wanted to build bridges, not walls. Francis personally designed his funeral plans last year to simplify the Vatican's traditional rites. His intention was to highlight the role of the Pope as a humble priest rather than a figure of worldly power, according to the Vatican. Pope Francis was buried at the Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome. He is the first pope since Leo XIII, who died in 1903, to be buried outside the Vatican.
Well, away from the Pope's burial, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has implored management of the University for Development Studies, UDS, to focus on its mandate of promoting a more active role for higher education and tackling societal problems, particularly in rural areas. Speaking at the swearing-in of the Governing Council of the University, the minister reiterated that government has no intention of interfering in the management of the university. Take a listen.
As an institution, you capitalize on the very rich experiences of the members of council. There is also a growing concern in the country about the relationship between products of the university, employability, the needs of the private sector, and the needs of industry. Council Chair Ambassador and members of this August Council. If it's necessary for you to reorient your pedagogy to respond to those national aspirations, don't hesitate to do so. My other assurance is that it is not the desire nor the intention of President Mahama to interfere with you enjoying and upholding your academic freedom. So those days where there were interference in your management, be assured that far from it, the recent agenda of President Mahama does not intend to micromanage university with political leaders. This governing council remains the most important organ in the decision-making structure of this university, and the future of the university rests.
Well, now let's still engage, let's really stay on this very development and engage our Northern Regional correspondent, Christopher Marco, and he joins us via Zoom. Good afternoon, Christopher. Thanks for joining us. Christopher, before the swearing in, I know one of the unions, that's Tewu Ghana, made some concerns regarding their representation. Was that resolved, one way or the other?
Well, the minister indicated that he had taken notice of their concern and that the matter will be addressed in the coming days. Now, the matter has to do with the fact that there are two Tewu unions. We have Tewu TUC and Tewu Ghana. Now, according to the aggrieved union, that is Tewu GH, one member of the Tewu TUC was included in the governing council, and the Tewu GH people had some issues with that because, according to them, they have the majority of members, and so if there was the need for any representation on the governing council, then it should be Tewu Ghana, because according to the labor laws, the union with the majority of people gets representation on the board, and so they believe that they were supposed to be the ones that will be chosen to represent the interests of the union. And so choosing someone from Tewu TUC wasn't right. And earlier yesterday, they demonstrated on the UDS campus as a result of that. But when the minister came, he was able to, as it were, resolve that matter at that moment, because he told them that he didn't know. It was just Tewu that was spelled out, and so he didn't know that they had that differences, and so they should come for a roundtable discussion so that they will address that issue amicably. So yesterday he went ahead to swear in the members of the governing council.
So what assurance has the new governing council been given?
Yeah, so basically they are saying that their predecessors actually raised the UDS to a certain standard, and they are hoping that they will be able to do more for the development of the University for Development Studies. You know that it is the premier university in the northern parts of the country, and giving university education to a whole lot of people within the northern catchment area. They are looking at expanding their access to other areas, such that the people living within the northern enclave and other parts of the country will have a benefit of a good university education, especially when it comes to the issues of medicine and other programs that are run on the UDS campus. Now, they are also hopeful that they will see to the introduction of new courses that would, as it were, bring a lot of people to the university to undergo training. Let's take a listen to what the board chairman, Ambassador Alhaji Salifu, has been saying.
Sworn in, and therefore the weight is on us to deliver more than what our predecessors did. I hear they have raised the bar so high, but whether it is high or low, you have to jump it. I think that the minister has highlighted a few things that he thinks the UDS must be doing. I will not repeat them. You have all heard it. And I want to appeal to you. The council is now sworn in and responsible for all those things that are necessary for us to do for the UDS. We have no reason to perform lower than our predecessor. We can only raise the bar higher than they did.
Christopher Marco is a Northern Regional correspondent, and we're discussing sidelines of the inauguration of the UDS Governing Council, where the minister has said that they will not interfere in the institution's governance, and also he's confident that higher education should tackle rural challenges. Judith.
Absolutely. Let's do some more stories. And the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health has expressed satisfaction with the operations of the Hort Teaching Hospital in the Volta region. Now, the committee, after a working visit to the facility on Friday, observed with excitement the level of innovation and initiatives being undertaken by management of the hospital to improve service delivery, and urged other government health facilities to emulate same. Correspondent Fasil Abdulu, who was with the committee during the tour, joins us with some details on this. Fasil, good afternoon. Tell us more about the committee's visit to the teaching hospital in Ho, and also share with us really what they've been saying.
Well, thank you very much. The committee's visit to the hospital yesterday is part of a nationwide tour they are doing to the teaching hospitals and the regional hospitals to assess the state of the facility and also engage management on what challenges they face as far as government's research agenda is concerned. They want all of this input to improve upon whatever government will be giving to the sector to ensure that service delivery is improved. Yesterday, when the committee visited the whole teaching hospital, they toured the entire facility, moving from one department to the other. After that tour and engagement with management, the committee indicated that they are impressed with whatever initiative the hospital has undertaken so far, particularly using the internally generated fund. They talk about the fact that the hospital has been able to build a psychiatric consultant department using their own IGF, building a 24-hour pharmacy, building a dialysis center, and also a family health center, among other projects that the hospital has been able to build over the period. They indicate the fact that over time, the hospital's investment is not only in the area of infrastructure projects, but also in research, setting the pace for what they call a proper teaching hospital. Dr. Thomas Anaba, who led the committee yesterday, has been speaking to the media. Let's listen to exactly what he said about their impression about the hospital system.
Impressed. It appears the last two hospitals we have been to, even I can say the four, are doing fairly very well. They have been able to use the meager IGF they are generating to put up very wonderful infrastructure and carry out programs that will bring about improvement in the lives or in the services they deliver to patients in this community and beyond. They have also invested into research. Even last year, they published 21 peer-review articles. And that is what they should be doing. Their main challenges are human resource, the staff. But we have noted that they are financing 50-something specialists currently in the College of Surgeons and Physicians to graduate and come back and help the facility. They have used their internally generated fund to put up a psychiatric consultant department. They are putting up a 24-hour pharmacy, a very beautiful one. They've built the family health administration with their own IGF. They have used their own IGF to put up a dialysis center for the hospital and many more. This, we actually applaud them for it. This is a very good example they are setting, and we encourage other hospitals to emulate same. Ring-fence some of the money generated from this high capital-intensive equipments to maintain them. In that way, at least the machine will be working for a very long time before we can change it when it's very old. So in a nutshell, I would say that my team is very impressed.
Well, Fasil, you're still with us. We do know that the hospital management has been speaking about their challenges despite the good story regarding their operations. What have they been saying?
Well, management brought to light the issue of human resource in terms of the staff they have. They indicated also that they have already started efforts in that direction to ensure that they get more staff skilled enough to stay with them and address the issue and deliver on their mandate as the teaching hospital. Quite recently, they have had to open an annex to be able to accommodate the increasing number of clients that visit the hospital. And so, as far as the hospital is concerned, one of their major challenges is the issue of staff. They are understaffed currently. They want government to intervene so that they get all the skilled staff they need to ensure that the hospital moves on with their mandate. They have also started what they call a health tourism. Quite recently, they want government to intervene and ensure that it moves. It's part of government's agenda to ensure that health tourism becomes a necessary development along the health sector. And so they are urging government to ensure that they intervene and ensure that what they have started moves forward. They are also talking about the fact that as a tertiary health delivery institution, they want a policy framework that would give them a clearer understanding as to what they would have to do in terms of the equipment they have to delivery institution. They want a policy framework that would give them a clearer understanding terms of the equipment they have and all they need.
Seems we have lost Fasil right there, but we're going to stay on that particular subject because we have a sound or a video of the complaints that were made in that particular hospital. Let's take a listen.
Developed a policy strong enough for the development of tertiary healthcare. So I think that this is the time for stakeholders to sit down and look at it and develop a policy that will help develop the healthcare, tertiary healthcare in this country. Because when it's defined, then you know the kind of equipment you need, the kind of human resource you need, and the kind of infrastructure you need to be able to do it. And for us, as is being planned to go into health tourism, all these things are very crucial. And even we need to have policy on the health tourism itself. And then, like people suggest, they should involve the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and even Ministry of Tourism, so that people get, if we are able to get that, there should be a way people can get easy visas to come to assess the health needs that they have.
You heard there the CEO of the Whole Teaching Hospital at John Tampere expressing really the challenges that they are facing at that particular hospital. Earlier, we had been speaking to Fasil Abdulu, giving us all the updates regarding the Whole Teaching Hospital. George.
And now the NDC caucus in Parliament says it will not interfere in the Youth Employment Agency and Zoomlion sanitation contract. And a release issued and signed by Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business, Mahama Yariga, said any comment made by any member of the Sanitation Committee which appears to defend Zoomlion sanitation contract with YEA should be ignored, as they do not represent the decision or opinion of the committee or Parliament. Pressure is mounting on the Youth and Employment Agency not to sign a contract with Zoomlion following the low wages allegedly paid by the company to sanitation sweepers. Chief Executive Officer of YEA, Malik Basintale, has come out to say that he will not renew the Zoomlion contract in its current form. Well, let's still stay on this, as the Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basintale, has been speaking about the way forward regarding actions the agency would take regarding the Zoomlion contract. Take a listen.
We are at the point of taking a decision. One, as to whether to review and amend the previous contract between Zoomlion Ghana Limited, who manages our sanitation model, or two, to entirely terminate the contract pending the board approval, or three is to increase the basic salary. As I have stated earlier, that I shall not on any occasion negotiate any contract that will fall below the minimum wage. Brothers and sisters, we are at a crossroads, and I wish to take all your concerns and comments on this matter. They shall guide our way forward. We all know the history of Zoomlion Ghana Limited, and I've read through all the achievements and all the recognitions as enshrined in the profile of Zoomlion Ghana Limited.
On the subject, investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri-Awuni is suggesting a case of state capture. Now, speaking on Ghana Tonight, he claims both sides of the political divide have been compromised, pointing to past deals that may not have served the public interest.
It appears there is some state capture of a sort. In South Africa, they investigated the Guptas for state capture. It appears this is what is happening with Zoomlion. Because as we speak, whilst the hospitals are struggling, hundreds of millions are paid from health insurance levy to Zoomlion for fumigation. The District Assembly's Common Fund pays for fumigation. Then there's a third fumigation contract that I discovered that the Ministry of Local Government awards every year. and they often give reasons for awarding it. In 2020 and 2021, they said COVID-19, but it used to be cholera. So these things are happening, and I have spoken to some people within the government, NDC, MPP, and when you speak to them off the record, they will tell you how Zoomlion is a problem, but they cannot deal with it. It is often from the very top. I did an investigation that resulted in the cancellation of a $74 million contract. It was very fraudulent. We didn't need a contract, and it was highly overinflated. Then, during the investigation, I realized that the order to sign the contract came from the Chief of Staff at the Office of the President to the local government ministry, which went ahead to procure 1 million liter beans, when at the time they had procured 150,000 and they couldn't distribute, and they were there rotten. So with Zoomlion, it appears it often comes from the top. There is massive evidence of corruption. Remember, this company, Zoomlion, was banned by the World Bank for admitting to paying bribes in Liberia. All of these things are public, and anytime I do my stories, I provide evidence. So it isn't that we don't have the evidence to stop this company. It appears that either side of the political divide may have been captured in a way by this company and its operations. And that's why they are not able to do anything.
Well, still on this, meanwhile, the Chief Corporate Communication Officer at the Josborn Group of Companies, Sophia Kujoji, who also spoke on Ghana Tonight, insisted that the amount paid by the company is determined by the contracts.
Are signed between two people. And government has signed this contract with Zoomlion, and everything in that contract is stipulated. And Manasseh knows for a fact that whatever amount is being paid to these people is not determined by Zoomlion. So I don't know why he tries to do that. He knows that per the contract, Zoomlion does not employ the people. It is the YEA and Assembly that engage the personnel. And because of the politicization of our system, even on occasions where there are changes in government, you find some of our people being harassed because a new government has come into power, and others think that it is our time now to take over. My dear, waste management is a public scheme. Waste management is about people. It's about health. It's about the livelihood of people. It is not just about the money. And I know Manasseh is doing his work. Fine, go ahead. But I think that this playing of tricks where there is a new government in power and you know that kind of thing is going to happen. So then you pretend to be, resurrecting something that you did way back and recycling upon recycling to ensure that you get the attention of government for this to be. I think you have to stop, my dear. You've gone past that. You've gone past that. You know the truth. Why are you trying to twist some of these information? And so you give information that, Zoomlion is paid this amount and they have decided to give the people. It's not right, my dear. It's not right. This is not the kind of investigative journalism that we were taught and grew up with. I beg you, don't be doing that. It's not right.
I see. So Sophia, just break it down for us. Which of the things that Manasseh has said so far is untrue?
That what? Then he mentioned that there was a 74 million, contract that he came in and it stopped. So why are you lying? You know back then that the government had given the contract to Zoomlion for 2 years. It was a contract that is on credit. So that you give it to the government now and you pay over a period of 2 years. If you go buying something on credit, is the price the same as the price at which you are buying it when you are buying, with cash? And you know that you did not cause that contract to be cancelled because the 2 years elapsed, and because of the nitty-gritties of that contract, it was once it elapsed, nobody charged anybody for anything. As you are talking right now, you know that this contract for Zoomlion has ended. It has ended, and nobody has cancelled anything. So why are you playing on words to deceive people? I mean, I have listened to Manasseh speak over the years. Sometimes I'm like, oh, he's a young man he's trying to do his best as a journalist. So let's help him. But trying very hard to write on the backs of others to gain relevance.
In the submission, there will definitely keep tabs on this developing story. But away from that, the chief and people of Nhinen are demanding an independent investigation into the fatal shooting of a mourner by military personnel on Thursday, April 24. Now, the incident, which also left 3 others injured, has sparked outrage with calls for the perpetrators to face justice.
Preliminary reports reveal that a group of mourners were on their way to bury a deceased friend when a military truck stopped them after spotting one mourner, Kquasari, alias Kushivi, wearing a military camouflage uniform. Eyewitnesses say the soldiers attempted to forcibly remove the uniform, leading to a confrontation. In the ensuing altercation, a soldier allegedly shot Lala in the head at point-blank range, killing him instantly. The military then reportedly fired additional shots, injuring 3 others. While acknowledging that civilians are prohibited from wearing military attire, Nana Amampin Boateng Chum, the second chief of Nhinen, insists that such an infraction should not result in extrajudicial killing.
Yes, a brand young man or so. It may be to say, even say, or might be cry provocative. And yes, and yet you ask him. It's almost could be a Kutashi, they didn't know where I did to a person. The demonstration say, I was from by a normal man, I wish I bought some issue. I'm my idea to you. Before, yes, sir, this seminar. I'm very now.
The Ashanti Regional Police Commander has launched a full-scale investigation with forensic teams retrieving bullet casings from the scene. Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress NDC Ashanti Regional Executives visited Nhinen to console the bereaved family and assure them of justice. The team urged the youth to remain calm.
If even it was a military attack, like they have to arrest him, they have a nearby police station, hand the person to the police and continue their journey. But to open a fire on a human being is very uncalled for. And we condemn it, and we are appealing to the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is not the first time. I've already spoken to them that they should be calm. They shouldn't take the law into their whole eyes.
The deceased body has been deposited at the Nhinen Community Mortuary for autopsy. The injured are receiving treatment at Nhinen Hospital and Kquasari Teaching Hospital. The military high command is yet to issue an official statement.
Now we're going to stay on this particular story because Adib Sunonni is a security analyst. He's joining us for more details on this. Adib, you have seen the videos and heard the story. What are your initial responses?
I think it's an unfortunate incident, but in my opinion, it could have been prevented if the young man in question hadn't, won the military attack, and on the other hand, if the military had acted more tactfully or attempted to de-escalate the situation, I don't think it would have resulted in somebody losing a life. But all in all, it brings up very legitimate issues about this whole matter of wearing of military fatigue. We do know full well that there's a law, NLCD, I think 177, it's quite explicit about the wearing of each uniforms and the fact that it is illegal and you shouldn't even have the license to bring it in or in anything of that nature. But like has always been the case, implementing or enforcing the laws has been a major issue. Trust me, go to Kantamanto. Almost every bill comes under military fatigue in it. And it's not just constricted to the average Joe people. Celebrities. Someone climbs the stage with military fatigue. It is something, Samini does that. A lot of the celebrities, they do that. Are we saying we don't see it? What are we doing about it? All right. And let us also be mindful of the fact that, you see, Ghana is a country that is governed by the rule of law. In as much as I detect, as a security person, knowing full well the ramifications of people abusing the military uniform, impersonation, even in some cases using it to engage in all manner of criminality and people thinking they are soldiers. We should also be mindful about the way we address this issue. There's no law, like I indicated yesterday, that says when you see anyone in military fatigue, you let the person strip there, you know. And this has always been the custom. I remember back at Legon when I was in Commonwealth Law, we were one day sitting outside with some friends, and one of us was wearing the military, shorts.
Right.
And coincidentally, a military vehicle was passing by, stopped, and asked him to strip there and there. And that has always been the custom. So I think we need to really look at our strategy because it is not enough to dissuade civilians from abusing the uniform.
Right, clearly the law must work, as you have said. But Adib, we know that in the same Ashanti region, weeks ago, there was an incident involving some soldiers who allegedly assaulted some civilians. The military has vowed tough action, but why do we still see such incidents? Is it because now we tend to see more soldiers in town?
Well, during the last administration, I've always been concerned about the seeming civilianization of the military. You know, you have the military following GPs, CEOs, the EC chair, means like she's the president of the country. And I thought it's too much. I mean, beyond the president, the vice, the minister of defense, we should use the police because that is what they are actually even trained to do more. Military is for defense. So the fact that you are exposing the military to the civilian population too much, it creates some kind of, in some cases, animosity and antagonism between the civilians and the military. But then notwithstanding, there is the need for us to also work to improve the relationship between the military on one hand and the civilian population. I've always indicated that, look, without the civilians, it will be very difficult for any security service to be able to live up to their mandate because most of the intel they get are from civilian sources. So there's a need to harness that relationship based on mutual trust and respect. What we are saying or what we are calling for is not for Ghanaians to fear the military, but to respect the military. And I'm also surprised that we have to wait for the community to ask for an investigation. I did advise that immediately the military high command, together with the police high command and other military, should go to the area, meet the important stakeholders, and assure them of their unflinching commitment to conducting a full-scale investigation into the matter. You don't need to wait for them to ask for that investigation. I think that is extremely key because if care is not taken, we might have people becoming belligerent towards the military, and that is certainly not the way to go.
Well, many thanks for your time. Adib Sunonni is a security analyst. He has been giving us all the details as regards to the Nhinen fatal shooting. We're going to go on our first break, and when we're back, we'll bring you more stories. To stay.
Welcome back from the commercial break. You're still watching Weekend Central here on TV3. And more news this afternoon. Fellow in Public Law and Justice at CDD Ghana, Professor Stephen Kquasari, whose petition last year for the removal of the Chief Justice was dismissed, says those complaining against the suspension of the Chief Justice should read what the law says. He spoke on the key point earlier with Alfredo Kansi. Take a listen.
It is not the job of the president to act as an adjudicator, as he sought to do, telling the world that I didn't understand the Constitution and becoming the defense attorney for the Chief Justice. That was very wrong. And at the time, there was not a whole lot of noise about how wrong it was, but it was very wrong. And you know, when I filed the petition, many media people tried to call me to come on air, and I refused because I respected the privacy of the proceedings as articulated in by Dateba in the Ajay Chun case. So this is the first time that I'm actually coming on TV to say something about this petition, which I thought was poorly handled. Now, you talk about my petition did not have evidence and so on. This is false. I not only had facts, but I provided dates, events, and I also indicated witnesses that I was going to bring along during the inquiry phase to substantiate the allegations that I was making. Because when you submit a petition to a president, you are not attaching evidence, because the president is not a trier of fact. You are submitting enough to let the president decide whether or not there's enough in there to push the matter to a body that can inquire into it. Okay, so when I come in there and I say, look, the Chief Justice, and before I even say that, let me acknowledge that, look, the removal of a Chief Justice is a grave matter. I certainly will never be part of any attempt to remove a Chief Justice.
Now, in other news today, 26th of April 2025 is World Veterinary Day. Here in Ghana, veterinary professionals are at the forefront of animal care, disease prevention, food safety, and public health. Veterinary services play an important function in supporting Ghana's agricultural economy, particularly the livestock and poultry sectors, which many families rely on for income and nutrition. Now, this year's celebration is on the theme Animal Health Tasks or Takes a Team. Now, let's engage Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, who is a Risk Communication Officer at the Veterinary Services Ghana. Good afternoon, sir. In terms of public health, what role do vets play in preventing diseases that can spread from animals to humans?
Good afternoon to your viewers, and thanks for having us. Just to begin, veterinarians or veterinary professionals and paraprofessionals play a key role in public health by looking at other issues in terms of food safety. We all feed on milk, we feed on egg, we feed on honey, we feed on the meat. These are products that we want to make sure they are coming from hygienic sources. Apart from that, we live with these animals at our homes. We use them for security purposes. We use them for research. So mankind, we have gotten closer to these animals. And we also may not taking good care of them. They get sick, may pass certain diseases, which are known as zoonotic diseases, disease that spread from animals to humans. So making sure that these animals are healthy, essentially would make sure that we have safe food and also we have a good environment whereby we are going to be free from these issues of zoonotic diseases, and we can benefit more in terms of using them for lab experiment and research.
Now, how does this year's World Veterinary Day theme relate to your daily work?
Yes, the team, which is Animal Health Takes a Team, which shows that all those who work as animal health workers and also other stakeholders like farmers, pet owners, need to play their role. for a pet owner, you have to ensure that every year at least you get your dogs or cat vaccinated against rabies or visit for veterinary care. For farmers who are into poultry, cattle, sheep, or any forms of animal, those who are into fish, catfish, tilapia, any rearing, they are supposed to make sure anytime they see the animal sick, they call for veterinary advice, not to jump into conclusions, so that they save their investment and also ensure the public is also safe when their products are ready for consumption.
Right. Now, can you share an example where teamwork made a big impact on animal health or public safety?
Great. Let's take a common one, which is rabies. So should, in a vicinity, should a dog bite someone, once the person reports to the hospital, the person must make sure he reports to the nearest veterinary center. Why? Because the dog or the animal that may have given the bite may be harboring rabies and may be spreading it in the locality. When veterinary service is also informed, we go to the area and check. If we found out that yes, the animal is rabid, we try to find whether other animals were in contact. So we help to eliminate rabies in that community. Should the human health aspect do their part of treating one fellow, we'll continue to have cases. And if you check from time, anytime we see people dying from rabies in Ghana, there have been more than 5 or 6 people who have been bitten. And we realize that other animals may have come into close contact with these animals. So it's a team in a health space whereby everybody needs to play its or a part.
And Mr. Sasu, before you go, what message do you have for Ghanaians as we mark World Veterinary Day?
Today, all over the world being set for this celebration, we would like to tell everybody, the public, that anytime you see a veterinary professional or a paraprofessional, just say good kudos, because they are playing a good role, safeguarding these creatures for our own good. And also for farmers, for pet owners, should also play their part so that Ghana, in terms of animal health, we are benefiting strongly. Thank you.
Thank you very much as well. Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu is a risk communication officer at the Veterinary Services Ghana, and he says kudos to all workers in the veterinary area. George.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Weekend Central here on TV3 with myself and Judith Brown and Deputy Director General of the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOC, in charge of enforcement, control and elimination, Alexander Chumberima, says the new leadership at NACOC is working hard to arrest drug barons in Ghana. Speaking on the key point, lawyer Chumberima noted investigations into the recent interception of the drugs are ongoing to uncover all persons behind it.
Activities, we are always at all the border posts, land, sea, and air. So our men at the air side intercepted it. They called the head office or the headquarters. I was just about to leave the office around that time and the call came. So we have to go there with the K9, with our dogs. What we know is that it was found in Accra here and it was about to be shipped or to be exported to Europe or Netherlands. So that is what we can say for now. Every other information will come up later throughout or during our investigations. Then the fact that we are able to arrest you is a confirmation that we are working, and that is the simplest definition I always give to these things. That it tells you that now there's a new crop of leadership at NACOC, and those leadership are seriously working. We are not going to joke with our job.
Well, we'll stay on this subject because a private legal practitioner and member of the National Democratic Congress NDC, Abraham Amaliba, has called on authorities to let the public know how intercepted drugs are disposed of. Now, speaking on the key points, lawyer Amaliba further said that state security agencies are doing well to arrest the drug barons in Ghana.
What we can do is to commend them. But I also agree with those who say, where are these drugs after you seize them? I agree. I think that they need to come and tell us how these drugs are being disposed of, because I have not seen them burning anything anywhere. In recent times, I have seen, or you have realized, that the state security agents are doing so much work to bust these drug barons. Kudos to the state security agencies for, as it were, engaging in this act of seizing these drugs.
And away from narcotics, a Chinese national suspected to be engaging in illegal mining at Adansi Tewubebi has been picked up by the Ashanti Regional Security Task Force. 13 excavators were also impounded during the operation. Benjamin Edu has the rest of the story.
The operation, which was led by the Ashanti Regional Security Liaison, retired Captain John Kwame Jabari, targeted some cocoa growing areas in the Adansi-Asokwa district where illegal mining is rife. Several hectares of cocoa farms have been destroyed. Captain John Kwame Jabari described the extent of environmental degradation as worrying.
We have dealt with the forest reserves already, so we are now looking at the water bodies and those in the waterways, and especially those who are destroying our cocoa farms. Cocoa is the future of Ghana, so we will not allow Galamsey people to bring down the production of cocoa. So when we went to the place that we went to, apart from them destroying the river body, a number of cocoa farms have been brought down by this menace in those areas over there.
A Chinese national was arrested with over a dozen excavators impounded. Some farmers express worry about how illegal miners are targeting cocoa farms.
As a matter of fact, Galamsey for Adia Omoye Hanide and Swari and Faka, one special Yesu, the Mantam Yesu Pia or Hadis and Swikas in the furniture.
The illegal miners have destroyed the rivers in our farm. We have to carry water from our home to drink while working on the farm.
And I will go for one to which we need to. I go for this obviously because you know that I'm safe and sorry.
Go in India, Minimi Kunaya, Ubi, Ninia Bina this as be my. And a yedio cocoa, Ninia no, I know by. I know say young quache, and the Mikunis no way.
The land was given to us, and these illegal miners asked that we sell it to them. When we refused, they started mining without our knowledge.
The Ashanti Regional Security Liaison said government's commitment to combating illegal mining is unwavering.
If you want to mine, you have to mine responsibly. Stay away from cocoa farms, stay away from water bodies, stay away from our forest. Go collect your license. The government is ready to facilitate places that does not destroy any of these areas to give you a license to go and operate. I've been to mining sites that people are doing serious reclamation as they mine, and we have not touched any of them. So please, those who are involved in this menace, please go and do responsible mining, and we and you don't have any problems at all.
We pull the brakes here. We're going for another commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us.
This is hot.
Judith, today is World Veterinary Day. So on that note, my vegetarian journey starts today. So anything that you want to feed me now should be salad. Let's use more of that. Greens.
I'm sure we'll be announcing your funeral very soon because
I can't cook for the next 1 month.
George will not survive under such harsh conditions, but we are hoping that he'll be able to pull through this. Well, we're going to end the bulletin right here. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been live right here from our studios here at Disawi Kanda in Accra and on DSTV channel 279. My name is Judith Brown. I've been doing this with.
My name is George Quentin. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Enjoy your afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.